Our world runs on fossil fuels. Oil, coal, and natural gas power our homes, fuel our vehicles, and drive our industries. They are deeply embedded in the fabric of modern life. This dependence comes at a steep price. Burning fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases, warming the planet and causing catastrophic climate change. We are caught in a dangerous paradox, relying on the very substances that threaten our future. Breaking free from this dependence is crucial, but the path forward is complex. A sudden and complete halt to fossil fuel use, while seemingly the fastest solution, would trigger a global crisis. It would disrupt every aspect of our interconnected world, from transportation and energy to food production and global trade. The consequences would be immediate and far-reaching, impacting billions of lives. We must confront the harsh realities of such a scenario before we can chart a viable course towards a sustainable future. The transition to a renewable energy economy is essential, but demands careful planning, massive investment, and a willingness to confront difficult choices. Imagine a world plunged into darkness. Not a temporary blackout, but a sustained loss of power. This is the stark reality we face if we were to immediately cease all fossil fuel use. Power plants reliant on coal and natural gas would grind to a halt. Cities, once ablaze with light, would be cast into shadow. Transportation systems would grind to a standstill. Airplanes fueled by kerosene would remain grounded. Cars, trucks, and ships dependent on gasoline and diesel would be rendered useless. The global supply chain, the intricate network that moves goods across borders, would collapse. Supermarkets stocked with produce from distant lands would face empty shelves. Even essential services like hospitals, reliant on generators often powered by diesel, would struggle to function. The sudden absence of fossil fuels would be a global catastrophe, impacting every corner of our interconnected world. The consequences, both immediate and long-term, would be devastating. The economic fallout from an overnight fossil fuel shutdown would be nothing short of cataclysmic. Stock markets already volatile would plunge into freefall. Energy companies, once titans of the financial world, would face bankruptcy. Millions of jobs directly and indirectly tied to the fossil fuel industry would vanish. Oil-dependent nations, their economies built on the backs of fossil fuel exports, would face economic ruin. The ripple effects would spread like wildfire, engulfing even nations with nascent renewable energy sectors. The sudden loss of such a fundamental commodity would trigger a global recession of unprecedented scale. Governments would struggle to provide for their citizens, leading to social unrest and political instability. This economic earthquake would reshape the geopolitical landscape, creating winners and losers in a new world order defined by energy scarcity. The transition to a renewable future, while necessary, would need to be carefully managed to avoid such a catastrophic economic collapse. While a sudden fossil fuel shutdown would spell disaster for many, some sectors would emerge as unexpected beneficiaries. Renewable energy companies, long relegated to the fringes of the energy market, would experience a dramatic surge in demand. Solar panel manufacturers, wind turbine producers, and battery developers would struggle to keep pace with the insatiable need for clean energy. Electric vehicle manufacturers, like Tesla, would see demand for their products skyrocket. The transportation sector, forced to adapt, would become a hotbed of innovation, with new technologies emerging to fill the void left by fossil fuels. However, this growth would be overshadowed by the broader economic turmoil. The collapse of the fossil fuel industry would leave a gaping hole in global markets, one that renewable energy alone could not immediately fill. The transition, while ultimately beneficial for these sectors, would be marked by instability and uncertainty. Balancing the need for rapid change with economic stability would be a paramount challenge in a post-fossil fuel world. Section 5. The Cry for Change, Climate Activists versus Economic Reality. Climate activists and scientists have long sounded the alarm about the existential threat of climate change. They argue that the continued burning of fossil fuels will lead to irreversible damage to the planet, resulting in more extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and mass extinctions. Their message is clear. We must transition to a renewable energy future, and we must do it now. However, the economic realities of a sudden fossil fuel shutdown are undeniable. The potential for chaos, job losses, and global instability gives even the most ardent climate advocates pause. This tension between the urgency of climate action and the potential for economic turmoil lies at the heart of the debate. Finding a way to reconcile these competing interests is the defining challenge of our time. Ignoring the science of climate change is not an option, but neither is plunging the world into economic chaos. A balanced approach, one that acknowledges the urgency of the situation while planning for a responsible transition, is essential. Section 6. A Bridge to the Future. Navigating the transition to renewable energy. A successful transition to a renewable energy future will require a multi-pronged approach. First, we need massive investments in renewable energy infrastructure, including solar farms, wind turbines, and energy storage solutions. This investment must be global, with developed nations taking the lead in supporting developing countries in their transition. Second, we need to accelerate the development and deployment of new technologies, from advanced batteries to carbon capture and storage systems. Innovation will be key to overcoming the challenges of intermittency and storage associated with renewable energy sources. Third, we need to implement policies that incentivize the adoption of renewable energy and disincentivize the use of fossil fuels. This includes carbon pricing mechanisms, renewable energy standards, and investment in energy efficiency measures. The transition will not be easy, but by acting decisively and collaboratively, we can build a bridge to a cleaner, more sustainable future. Section 7. Global Leaders. Lessons from countries embracing renewables. Several countries are leading the way in the transition to renewable energy, offering valuable lessons for the rest of the world. Denmark, for example, generates over 50% of its electricity from wind power, demonstrating that a high penetration of renewables is achievable. Costa Rica has successfully decarbonized its electricity grid, relying primarily on hydroelectric, geothermal, and wind power. Iceland, with its abundant geothermal resources, has achieved almost complete energy independence. These countries demonstrate that a transition to a renewable energy future is not only possible, but also economically viable. They serve as beacons of hope, proving that a cleaner, more sustainable world is within reach. Section 8. The Tesla Effect. How innovation can drive sustainable change. The rise of Tesla, the electric car manufacturer, is a testament to the power of innovation in driving sustainable change. Tesla's sleek designs, long-range batteries, and commitment to sustainability have made electric vehicles desirable, challenging the dominance of gasoline-powered cars. Tesla's success has had a ripple effect throughout the automotive industry, prompting other major manufacturers to invest heavily in electric vehicle development. This shift towards electric mobility is a crucial step in reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and combating climate change. Tesla's story demonstrates that innovation, coupled with entrepreneurial spirit, can play a pivotal role in creating a more sustainable future. It highlights the importance of supporting and investing in companies that are developing the technologies needed to address the climate crisis. Section 9. Finding the balance, a path forward for a sustainable future. The challenge of transitioning away from fossil fuels is daunting but not insurmountable. We must acknowledge the urgency of the climate crisis and the very real risks of inaction. However, we must also recognize the potential for economic disruption and the need for a carefully managed transition. The key lies in finding a balance between these competing priorities, a path forward that allows us to rapidly decarbonize our economies while ensuring a just and equitable transition for workers and communities reliant on fossil fuels. This will require collaboration on an unprecedented scale, with governments, businesses, and citizens working together to build a more sustainable future. We have the technology, the resources, and the ingenuity to solve this challenge. The question is, do we have the will? The time for debate is over. The time for action is now.